So how much money did you make in the month of September?
I made $15,000.
You made
It still blows my mind. Yeah, I can't believe it. $15,000. It's unbelievable. I mean, I had high expectations going into this business, but I never could have imagined that it would get to where it's grown to.
Another episode of On the Road with the Loan Signing System. Here with signing agent Falcon out in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. How you doing today, man?
I am fantastic, Mark. I could not be better.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear your story. Like every single one of these stories is inspiring. So how much money did you make in the month of September?
I made $15,000.
You made
it still blows my mind. Yeah, I can't believe it. $15,000.
I was just going to ask, how does that sound when you say that out loud?
It's unbelievable. I really was not, I mean, I had high expectations going into this business, but I never could have imagined that it would get to where it's grown to.
It's epic. Now, I think what's epic is how much money you made in October. So you took 3 weeks of vacation because, darn it, you earned it after a $15,000 month. So in October, after taking a 3-week vacation, how much money did you make in October?
$5,925. So about $6,000.
$6,000 in basically a week. I mean, like when you came back from vacation and made $6,000, I mean, what was going through your head?
Honestly, I was a little worried. You know, it was my first time stepping away from the business for that long, and I was worried that maybe there might not still be business waiting for me when I got back. But the economy has to keep on going. These loans are still closing, and they still need good notaries. And I came back and hit the ground running right off the bat.
I love it.
I did $1,000 my first 2 days in a row. $1,000 the first day back, and $1,000 the second day back.
Let me make sure that wasn't lost on anybody watching this. Your first day back from vacation, you made $1,000 in a day.
I sure did.
And then the next day, the second day back from vacation, you made another $1,000 in one day.
That's right. Yeah, I know. It sounds like you get lost in translation. That is really what happened.
It's the best business ever. I mean, what other business can you take 3 weeks off and make $6,000 in 1 week? Honestly, it's amazing. Now we're sitting in November. What are you on track to make in November? And if I heard you correctly when we got on here, is you took another vacation in November. So what are you on track to make this month?
Well, my vacation I took last month was in Mexico, and a hurricane hit. So I ended up not being able to enjoy most of my vacation. So I felt like I deserved another one. So I ended up taking another vacation this month, and I'm still on track to make $10,000.
I mean, is there a better business in America where you can pick and choose when you work? You can take vacations when you want. You literally said, my vacation last time wasn't good enough, so I'm going to go on another vacation right after I got back from another vacation, and you still are on pace to make $10,000. Like, is it not the best business ever?
I'm so grateful. I can't believe that I fell into this business. It's changed my life completely.
Well, let's talk about how you fell into this business, because I think, what makes your story really cool is there's some of these stories where, it's kind of like a rising from the ashes moment where, it is, I came from nothing and now I'm making $10,000 a month. What I think is inspiring about your journey is, this isn't necessarily one of those stories of where, I didn't have a job, I needed the money. You had a great job, right? And it wasn't that you didn't have a good job. You just wanted to do something better and bigger. I'm going to let you tell your story. But again, I want people to hear from your vantage point. It wasn't like, I needed the money, I was down and out. You had a great job at a huge hotel on the Las Vegas Strip. So let's talk about why you chose to kind of go from a great secure job, full benefits, great title, working for a prestigious hotel, to like, I'm going to step out and be a signing agent. So what made you leave the security of a great job to become a $15,000 a month signing agent?
It's a good question, and you really put it great yourself. I did have a great job. I loved it. I think I worked for one of the best resorts in the world. But at the end of the day, no matter how good of a job is, it's still a job, and you still have those restrictions that are put on you through corporate America. And that was my experience. I worked really hard. I felt like I provided tremendous amount of value to this company. I always exceeded in my position. An opportunity came for a promotion, and I got passed up. They chose somebody who didn't even work for the company to come in and swoop that spot, who had more experience in the industry. And it wasn't a good feeling, Mark, honestly. I felt a little betrayed and undervalued, that after blood, sweat, and tears, time and energy put into this company, opportunity came for me to get a promotion, and they chose somebody else instead of me.
Yeah, I mean, for lack of a better analogy, like almost a punch in the gut, right? You're putting all this time in, and unfortunately, that's just the corporate world, right? It is a constant, another human putting value on what you do, right? Someone else is constantly judging you, and I feel like you said it really well. You felt betrayed, right? And I want to talk to someone else in corporate America, if this is okay, Falcon, of who's been passed up for a promotion. Like when you said you feel betrayed, like what are some of the other feelings you had? Like were you sad? Were you like discouraged? I mean, because you can't be the only person in America who's been passed up for a promotion that they deserved wholeheartedly. So talk through that. And I ask you that so another person in corporate America doesn't feel alone in how they felt or how they do currently feel.
Yeah, I mean, I felt a little undervalued, where I feel like I was more than qualified and well deserved this position that became available, but it still wasn't enough. And that's just the corporate America structure. Is sometimes being the right candidate for the position is still not enough. Other people get to make that decision. Other people get to judge you and decide the trajectory of your life, and you're not in control. Somebody else has the steering wheel.
Oh, that's a really good way of putting it. Someone else has the steering wheel to your life. That's crazy. I never thought about it. And that's really corporate America. When we kind of talked before we hit record on this, you made a comment that I thought resonated to me that I want to bring up now that we're recording is, when you got passed up from promotion, you didn't immediately quit, right? You mean you just had to deal with your feelings. And you said, well, Mark, that's just corporate America. And I think, unfortunately, people put up with stuff that they shouldn't have to put up with, right? It is, like you said, someone else being in control of your life, and so many other people who still work in corporate America, you're literally just, because it's all the way it always been, doesn't mean it's always the way it has to be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And so you decided to kind of take charge of your life. So now let's kind of talk through that, right? Again, like you made a decision of moving from a secure job, right? You had benefits, you had your guaranteed 40 hours a week, you had your fancy title, you're working for an extremely prestigious resort, like you said, best in the world. How scary was it to like kind of think about making that next step? With the feelings of being in corporate America so bad that you're like, man, I got to take that next step?
Yeah, it was terrifying. Like I said, as far as jobs go, this was one of the best ones. I had great benefits, a really fair salary, perks out the wazoo like you couldn't imagine. And still, I felt like it wasn't enough. I deserved more. And I knew I wasn't going to get it staying in that industry. So I could have stayed back and let life pass me by, or I could have taken control of my own steering wheel. And that's what I decided to do. I always knew I wanted to go into some type of entrepreneurship and be the master of my own destiny. And when I stumbled across this opportunity in your course, I checked all the boxes for me: make my own schedule, earn a lot of income, still get to work with people like I did in the hotel. And I just knew that it was something that I wanted to go for.
Well, you said something, man, that I'd love to talk through is, you said that I felt like I deserved more. Talk about that, right? Because everybody watching right now deserves more. There was a moment where you gambled on yourself, pun intended, that you chose to believe in yourself because you knew your value. Talk about that if you could, right? I mean, like you said, you had this great job. This isn't a story of didn't have the money. This isn't a story like I was broke. This is like I deserve more, and I knew I deserved more. Inspire someone else with that moment for you that you realize you deserve more, and encourage someone else out there who is on the fence of like, well, do I deserve more? And like, yes, everybody does. Or talk about like kind of that aha moment for you where you're like, I deserve more and I'm going to go get more.
Yeah, to be honest, not getting that promotion was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because that was a good opportunity for me to sit back and reflect. And I looked at people in those higher up positions and saw what their lives were. And I didn't want that for myself. And it took that moment of, getting it taken away from me to realize that that's not even what I wanted anyways. I wanted to be able to create my own schedule. I wanted to be able to earn a lot more income. I excelled in this career. In many different categories, I was a top performer for a long time and consistently received positive feedback from guests at the hotel. And I really enjoyed what I did, and I felt like it showed.
Yeah, and that's funny. Sometimes, down moments can be some of the biggest blessings in our life. And I love that you reflected on that, because that was the moment you were like, I deserve more. I'm going to go get more, and I'm going to do more. And so thank you again for really talking and being vulnerable about, being passed up and how discouraged you were from that. And I love your word betrayed. And there has to be so many people in corporate America who feel betrayed all the time, and you don't need to put up with it. And, everyone deserves more, and allowing someone else to be in control or steering, like you said, there's better opportunities out there. So, let's kind of jump to this next phase of our conversation, because I think it's as important as what you just shared, right? So when did you get the loan signing system course?
I purchased the course and started my journey in July of 2019.
Okay. So we are now in November of 2020. And when did you really start taking this business serious?
I'm ashamed to admit it, but when I purchased the course, I had every intention of hitting the ground running, but that's just not the way it happened for me. I made every excuse in the book. I sat on my hands for a while and didn't do what needed to be done to really get the business going. And I made, the excuse I'm sure a lot of other people make is I work a full-time job. I don't have time to run a business on the side. Months went by. I didn't even end up putting my notary commission to work and doing my first signing until May of 2020.
Okay, cool. So that's roughly almost a year you sat on the course, you sat on your notary commission. And what I think is inspiring, and I really want to talk people through your feelings for the 10 months that you sat on your hands, because you're not the only person watching this. You're not the only LSS student who hasn't done anything in the course, because you just stated how you knew you deserved more. You knew that this was the final straw. I'm going to make a change. You got the course, but yet you didn't make a change. So, and I think it's really raw and vulnerable if you can share why you didn't make that change, even though there was a moment of like, you know what, Falcon, you deserve more. Cool. You made a decision, become an entrepreneur, but you still sat on your hands. Why did you choose to sit on your hands? You just mentioned that you made excuses. I have a full-time job, but let's really kind of dig below that, because I want you to help someone else who's had this course for 6 months and hasn't done a thing with it. So for you, what was the real underlying factor that you didn't do anything with the course?
I made a lot of excuses, but after having time to, really look myself in the mirror and think about it, those excuses were a cover-up. They were a mask, a facade. Really, I think I was scared that I wasn't capable of running this business. I didn't have what it takes. And I even thought maybe Las Vegas wasn't the right market for it. I know it sounds silly because it's such a humongous city, but I thought maybe this is something for people in other cities. It's not going to work here.
No, first off, I love you, and I smile because you've got to hear how many times I hear that, like, will this work in my city? And, the answer is yes, it'll work in your city, it'll work in any city. But what I think is really cool is that the fact that you just shared that, the excuses were to mask how much scared you were. It was an excuse to mask the vulnerability of self-doubt. It was a mask of like you said, could I build this business? And I thank you for being honest, because there's a lot of students we have out there who are saying, I'm too busy because I have a full-time job. And and you really were able to look in the mirror and be like, I only said that because I didn't believe in myself. But the crazy part is, the reason you got the job is or the reason you got the course and made the decision to become a signing agent was because you did believe in yourself. So even though you had this gung-ho attitude of like, I deserve more, it still was real life of like, can I really do this? Talk about that, inspire someone through how you kind of just said, yes, that was how I used to feel, but this is how I made the decision to kind of move forward.
It makes me think of a quote that I love about commitment. And it says that commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the feeling you set it in has left you. So, sure, when I bought the course, I had every intention. I was going to get this started. I was going to build the business to the moon. I even sent you an email that I'm going to be the highest earning signing agent in Las Vegas. But then, the fear starts coming in. The self-doubt starts coming in. You start to question, can I really do that? Am I really somebody who can succeed in this business? Is this right for me? And then you have to remember that you have to get that feeling back that you had when you first set the goal, when you first had a dream. You have to hold on to it. You have to run with it.
I feel like I should cut that up and put that on YouTube for a motivational piece, because that was so beautiful, man. Right? The fact that you can say that quote right top of your head really makes me believe it is one of your favorite quotes. But like you said, man, you have to remember why you want to start this to begin with, right? And I think for you, even though somebody held you down, you got passed up for a promotion, you still kind of put up with it because, like you said, you were scared, the fear. I love how you admitted that you made excuses to mask the self-doubt. Like, oh, will this even work in Las Vegas? $15,000 a month says it does. And so, I love it because everyone feels like they need to be in major metropolitan cities like LA, San Francisco. Vegas is a big city, but it's full of transients, right? And so, and when I say transients, I mean people going in and out because of part-time work, et cetera, et cetera. But, I appreciate you being very vulnerable, man. If, let me end with this part of the conversation with you is there any words and an inspiration you would give someone? And I want to say a student who had the course for 6 months, right? And they're making the same excuses you used to make. Is this going to work in my town? Can I build this business? What would you tell them? Like inspire them of like, you can do it. If I can do it, I had the same feelings you currently have right now. What would talk to them in the camera? What would you tell them?
I would encourage anybody who's currently sitting on the sidelines, especially if you already have the course or even if you don't, challenge those assumptions because it's costing you a lot of opportunities. It's for sure costing you a lot of money and you have to believe it. That's the first step. If you don't believe it, say, I'm going to do it. I will do it. And once that decision is made, that's the first step. It needs to be taken.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's powerful because it took you 10 months to get to that point. And, and you're not someone who, like I said, we have students, Falcon, which, make $10,000 in their second month ever being a signing agent. It took you 13, 14 months since you had the course in your pocket to get to that point. And we're going to talk about your journey once you decide to go all in, because that's epic as well. But I didn't want to gloss over, and I didn't want to be, not transparent with everybody that you did have the course for 10 months before you made a decision of I'm going to go in. But once you made the decision that you're going to go all in, let's inspire people what your journey looks like, because that is epic. So you made the decision. I think I wrote notes down here. I think you said May is when you decided, I bought the course. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to go all in. So how much money do you make May when you kind of started up in the process?
So I notarized my first document of my entire life on May 2nd. And between May 2nd and the end of the month, I made $2,000.
Okay, I love it. So May 2nd. So your first month, I think this is also inspiring too, is you go home, right? You're like, dude, I'm going to build this. I'm going to build this to the moon. And you made $2,000. We have students who get discouraged at $2,000 in their first month. Oh, I only made $1,800. And they literally feel like the sky is falling. How come you didn't see $2,000 as a failure? And so talk about your mindset, because I want to teach people what a $15,000 month signing agent thinks like. So you made $2,000. Did you see that as a failure?
Not at all. I was so excited to make $2,000 in your first month in any business. That's incredible. I didn't see it as a failure at all. I was really pumped.
Perfect. And I appreciate you saying that. Now, you didn't see it as a failure. Why didn't you see it as a failure? Let's dig below that one level. Why you made $2,000, you're juiced. Why didn't you see $2,000 as a failure? Why did you see it as a stepping stone to your next month?
Because you have to start somewhere. And I have no experience in this real estate industry, coming from hospitality, which is completely different, to transition into a new field with no experience whatsoever and to still make $2,000, which is a really decent amount of money to make your first month in any business. I just saw it as a huge success.
I love it. And I love you said that, because you didn't compare it to somebody else. You compared it to where you started. You're like, dude, I had no experience in this industry. $2,000 from no experience is epic. You didn't see some of the other students making $10,000 in their second month, $15,000. You didn't compare your journey to them. You just compared it to where you started. And I think that's powerful. And so let me ask you another question, and this is off the cuff here, is, you see the success of our students. Month number 3, I made $12,000. Month number 1, I made $7,500. How come you didn't get discouraged by other people's successes?
I didn't think that other people succeeding meant that I was failing. I saw it as encouraging and inspiring. If somebody else can do it, maybe I can do it too. And it just got me so excited when I saw other people, posting these giant numbers up on the Facebook group. First thing that came to my mind is I'm next. I'm going to be that one.
I love it. And that's like, I love it because I don't know what your students are going to say when they ask these questions, but I love that when you see a 10, 15, $20,000 a month student, you're like, I'm next. And that's the mindset I was trying to dig out of you, is like, you still don't see someone else's success as a failure, like you said, but in fact, it gets you so juiced that you're like, I'm next. That's me. And I hope other people are hearing your story. Like, wow, he made he made $15,000 in a month. He made $6,000 taking 3 weeks off for vacation. Like, I'm next. And so I want people to get inspired by a mindset of a $15,000 a month signing agent, which is epic. So let's kind of continue. So you made $2,000 your first month, your first real month of digging into the business. Which you made your second month?
It jumped pretty substantially, $7,000 in month number 2.
I love it, man. Okay, and what'd you make your third month, kind of going full-time, boring into this business?
$10,700.
So in your third month of being a signing agent, you cracked the $10,000 in 1 month, like, plateau. Like, dude, when you made your first $10,000 month, like, how did that make you feel? Like, talk about that to inspire someone else.
I felt really grateful. I felt really excited, and I felt really accomplished, because for a long time, it's been a goal of mine, like an arbitrary, financial goal, to make $10,000 in a month. It's just this huge, unfathomable number to somebody who was in a position I was just, a few years back, to imagine, 5 figures in 1 month, and that I did it in month number 3. It's just unreal. I can't believe it.
I love it, man. I love it. So let's talk about the journey real quick, right? So then you made your 10 grand. What'd you make after that 10,000?
About 10,000 again. Yeah.
Cool. Back to back 10K months. And then then you had your big month of 15,000, right?
That's right.
I mean, talk about sustainability though, right? You hit 10K, you did 10K, you did 15K. I mean, that's back to back to back to back. Like, that's what I tell all you students, is once you get to that 10K level, very, very rarely something drastic has happened for you to drop below that income level. And you're literally proof of that. So I love it. So let's inspire some people, Falcon. So how much of your business is directly through title companies?
At this point, I would say about 90%.
Okay, cool. So your first, because I want to inspire people, you've never was in real estate, you never sold real estate, you never in escrow, and you're getting business directly from title offices. When did you decide to make the transition from signing service business to title business, and why did you decide to make that transition?
Well, as we all know, if we've paid any attention to your material, direct business is kind of the cream of the crop. There's no middleman. You get more of the signing fee to keep for yourself. My goal was to get my experience with signing services. That way, if I made mistakes, it was on, burning bridges that I didn't really care to foster. And month number 2, I felt like I had enough experience. I had already gotten my little, wrinkles and mistakes out of the way, and I was ready to market direct. So month number 2 is when I started walking into title companies and introducing myself, and it was terrifying.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that, because you said so much great things to inspire other people. First thing I heard is, second month, you're like, again, it's that self-belief. I deserve more, right? There's nothing wrong with working with signing service business. That is for some people. But you made the decision, like, I need to keep the entire fee. So month number 2, because I say that because we have students who've been working for signing services for 2 years who won't make that next step. But you said something that I love that you said, and you're honest about, is you were terrified. There is this misnomer out there, is that students who are, getting direct business are natural born salespeople. They are people who are not terrified. They're people who are not scared. They just have all the bravery and courage in the world. You straight up said, I was terrified. So let's talk people through that, to inspire them that, you can get through this moment of scaredness to the other side, which is $15,000 in a month. So, you were terrified. Take us back to the day you walked into your first title company. What were you feeling? What were your thoughts? To help someone who might be thinking, okay, Falcon, like, walk me through your first moment. Tell me how you got through it. Talk me through that.
Well, you provide a direct marketing script in your course. So my plan was to go in there and, I had practiced the script. I had memorized it. I made it my own. I was ready to go in there and wow their socks off. And then I got in the elevator and I pushed the button and I had my business card in my hand and my heart started beating fast and I was so scared. And I went in, I knew exactly what to say, and then just completely failed. The script did not come out anywhere near what I had intended it to do. It ended up just being, an introduction. My name's Falcon. I'm a notary. If you ever need help, here's my card. And then I wanted to get out of there as fast as possible because I was really nervous and it didn't make the impression I had intended to.
But that's okay, right? Like I teach you guys, experience is your best teacher. The fact that you took that step, and I appreciate you being so honest that you quote unquote, I teach you guys, you never really failed because you learn something from something. There's no such as a failure. There's only such thing as the lessons that I teach you. But for the lack of a better word, you bombed. And you bombed your first one. And so, but you brushed yourself off and you did it again. And then you did it again. And then you did it again. And now you make 15 grand in a month, right?
And to build on that, I've done that a dozen times now. I've introduced myself to so many title companies. And a few days ago, I was in a position where I randomly had a signing inside of a real estate office. I wasn't expecting it to be connected to a title company. And I said, you know what, I'm already here. I'm going to go introduce myself. Keep in mind, I've done this dozens of times and I'm, 600 signings in. I walked up to the escrow officer and I nearly bombed again. I got just as nervous as I was the first time. Of course, a little bit better this time around, but it's something that just happens. Even if you're experienced, getting nervous is a normal part of the journey, and you just got to overcome it and see what's on the other side.
I love it, man. You said that so beautifully. And I appreciate, again, being so honest and vulnerable. And it's what I teach you guys. Like, it's not that successful people don't get nerves. It's that successful people don't let the nerves hold them back from reaching their potential. And if there's any student out there who is nervous, the nerves will never go away. But too many people allow the nerves from building a business. And that's what I'm hoping Falcon inspires you, that you can get through the nerves and get through the other side. It does get easier with every single one. Let me ask you this question, right? Has anyone ever been rude to you after you talk to them to get signings? Like, I think there's this misnomer that there's terrified people on the other side of that receptionist wall, or escrow officer, title officers are just mean humans. Like, have you ever had an experience where you're like, wow, that was like the meanest thing ever? Or is it always like, wow, they're just kind of like me?
Yeah, no, exactly. They're just people just like you and I. They have interests and hobbies. They are very friendly. I've never had any of them be mean to me. And, I think I thought about it and decided why I was so nervous and why I still get nervous is I used to think of it like I was going in and asking them for something, like I was asking for their business. But I realize now that I'm not asking for business. I'm offering help. They need good notaries. They need people who know what they're doing, who are going to show up on time, be presentable, guide the borrower through the documents, do a good job, bring the signing back with no errors. If they find somebody who can do that, they are so happy because it's not common. Most notaries make mistakes and don't show up on time and are not loan signing system certified.
Yeah, I do. So many great things. I think the best thing you said is, first off, I've never met anybody mean, right? Because I think there's like a myth that like, they're mean. Even when they say no, they're not mean when they say no. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
normal people, and they said no. Okay, thank you. I'll see you next week. What you also said that was beautiful is you went from asking from something to offering a service. And that's what I really try to teach you guys is when that clicks, marketing becomes easier, because I think we're so scared to ask for something. When you realize we're not asking for anything, like, they need to hire a signing agent. They need an educated signing agent, a competent signing agent. I teach you guys how to present a script in a fashion that makes them understand you're competent. And when you do that, it's just offering a service. You're not trying to sell someone. To me, I always tell people sales is like selling something to someone that they don't need. Like when someone sells you a car, you don't need a new car. Your car works. So they got to sell you on the car. But when you walk into a title office, you're not selling them anything. They have to have a notary, period. You're just offering your services. Am I correct on that?
Just in case anybody thinks you're just saying that to sell the course, I'm about to drop some fire here. I have a direct escrow officer that I work for. And a few weeks ago, an emergency came up. We had an appointment scheduled, and I had to cancel it. I gave ample notice. It was about 24 hours in advance, maybe more. And she seemed upset. So a few days later when I went in, I apologized. I'm so sorry I had to cancel. She said she was upset because she couldn't find another good notary. She said they're out there, but she doesn't trust most notaries on her files because they always mess up. She only has a handful of people that she'll actually use, is because They need good notaries. There's not, I know everybody thinks that a million good notaries walk into these title companies all the time. That's what I thought. It's not true. There's not a lot of them out there.
I appreciate it, because people do think I say that to sell a course. Like, you're only saying there's a shortage of good notaries because you're trying to sell a course. And as you know, it's the truth, man. I mean, your escrow officer got upset, not because that you didn't make the signing, because life happens, but because she was worried she couldn't find and hire another good notary. So for any loan signing system students out there, you're the best. You have the best training. Believe in yourself, like Falcon is teaching you, and you can become a $15,000 a month signing agent. I'm going to keep saying that until you're like it sinks in, because that's so epic, man. I'm so proud of the journey you took.
Thanks. It's only up from here. 20K, here I come.
Let's go. That's what I'm saying. Okay, cool. Well, I think your journey is so inspiring. Thank you for letting people know that they know self-belief, going in there. They're human. You can do it. I mean, Falcon, let me ask this question point blank. If you could build a signing agent business, do you think anybody could?
I do. Anybody who is willing to put the work in. It's not easy, but it is simple. If you Mark, you lay out the blueprint. If all you got to do is take it and follow it, and it works. I mean, you have to be able to stick to your goals, and anybody can do it as long as they're committed and they decide that it's what they want to do. It can definitely be done.
How upset are you that you didn't go all in like a month after you bought the course?
I try not to think about it.
Again, but I think that makes your journey special, man. I think what makes it special is the authenticity of, like, I made excuses up because I was scared the whole time. And when you push past that, and it took you 10 months, which, okay, it took you 10 months. Slow is a speed, right? I mean, everyone's journey is different. And the fact that you literally just sat on your hands for 10 months only to build a $10,000 business within 90 days of your first signing is an incredible part of your journey. And I hope people are inspired by it. So speaking of inspiration, and your light went back on. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
So, I always ask successful signing agents, which you are, by the way, what is one tip? What's one piece of advice? If your best friend was looking at you right now, Falcon, saying, I want to be a signing agent, and they're like, give me one piece of advice, what would that be to someone watching today to help them grow a signing agent business?
You need to stay busy all the time, even when you have no signings. If you're not doing a signing, you should be studying the loan documents and studying the marketing material. If you're not studying the material, you should be out marketing. If you're not out marketing, you should be feeding your brain, reading books. If you're not reading books, you should be in a signing. You always do something to move in the right direction. Don't ever have days where you're not doing anything and you're just waiting for the phone to ring. You need to pick up that phone and call somebody.
I love it, man. There's so many amazing this. I'm going to, maybe for conference to show, make sure to say, always stay busy. Every time I have one of these interviews, you guys always have these amazing one-liners. But yeah, you're right. Always stay busy. I teach you guys, there are signing days or there are marketing days, right? And I love what you said is, like, the signing agents who sit around and just wait for the phone to ring are not the signing agents who build $15,000 a month businesses. And coming directly from a $15,000 signing agent, it is, if you're not doing a signing, you're marketing. If you're not marketing, you're reading. If you're not reading, you're sending loan docs. If you're not sending loan docs, you're taking the course, you're studying the course. It's always pushing your business forward. I tell you guys, do something every single day to move your business forward. You're always chasing progress. You're never chasing perfection. And hearing it from a $15,000 a month signing agent is like, look, you said it best, feed your brain all the time. Right? If you're not reading, if you're driving, listen to podcasts. Like, try to do something that's going to move your business forward. And I think that's an amazing piece of advice. Is there anything you'd like to add to that piece of advice that could inspire somebody?
I mean, you said it best. We spend a lot of time as loan signing agents driving around. So my car has turned into a college auditorium. I am always listening to a podcast. I'm always listening to one of your mentorship videos. And I guess my piece of advice would be, just don't stop. Don't get discouraged. Keep going and know that it's going to work if you put the effort in.
I love it. I always tell, like, you had another saying earlier, which I love, is it's not easy, but it's simple. Great quote. I never said this busy was easy, but it is simple to build if you're willing to put in the work. And the funny part is, I mean, look, in 90 days, you're able to scale it to 10 grand. To me, what that says, if you peel back the layers of what that really means, is you were able to get into title companies quick because there were not that many good signing agents. You would not have been able to scale to 10 grand if there was a bunch of good notaries just floating around, right? I think what I hope is not lost on all these interviews that I do with you students is, no matter where you live. Last week's was from Denver, Colorado. The week before that was in Northern California. The one before that was in Florida. No matter where you live, the resounding thing is I'm able to walk into a title office and get business. The reason you're able to walk into a title office and get business is because there's not many good notaries. They were waiting for you to come in, like literally waiting for you to introduce yourself and offer your services.
And even if they do have good notaries, a good notary can't be in multiple places at one time. I made 15 grand, but I probably turned down another 10 grand because on any given night, I have so much direct business and signing service business. I might get 6 people asking if I can do a 7 o'clock appointment. I say yes to one of them and turn down 6 of them. So there's, there's business out there. Even if there are good notaries, there's not enough. There's too much business.
I love it. And I say that too, is a good note. No matter how good of a notary I think I am, I can only be in one place at one time. I can only do one 7:30 in the city of Las Vegas, in the city of San Francisco, in the city of wherever you live. I mean, how many 7:30 appointments do you think happen in a night in Las Vegas?
I heard you ask that question when I first started, and I was thinking, maybe 2 or 3, probably more like 25, maybe even more.
Yeah, and they need a notary in every single one. And then on top of the 25 at 7:30, there's probably another 25 at 7. There's probably another 25 at 6. And because if you're doing a 6, you can't get to the 7:30 if it's across town in traffic. Like there's so much business out there. Every city operates the same way. And again, I'm bringing back something you said earlier. Is one of the biggest things people say is, oh, well, is this going to work in my town? And I love you admitted you also said that even though you come from a major U.S. city.
Yeah, and I realized that the other day when I was flying back from my vacation and my plane was soaring in and I saw thousands of roofs from different homes and I thought, they need to refinance, they need to sell their home, they need to buy their home. It's just there's business everywhere. I
love it. And when you get into the mode of abundance and all of a sudden you see the abundance of business. I fly into San Diego and I walk out and I see a new high-rise of condos. All I see is about 1,000 opportunities for notary signing agents to make money. That's what I see. I see a subdivision being built. I'm like, wow, all those subdivisions, they're going to need a notary. And like you said, they're going to refinance.
Yeah.
Bro. Okay, cool. So let's go to Latin. First off, thank you so much. You've been vulnerable. You've been great with information. I appreciate you sharing your journey and being honest. Let's help people on the way out of this interview. And you've been so transparent with your information. I love it. And thank you again. So I'm asking you to be transparent one last time. So, I want to help the person watching right now who is hesitating on joining the industry because of some self-doubt in their head. They aren't going to be able to do this or that. What was some of the thoughts you had before you became a signing agent that you doubted, that now looking back at those doubts, you're like, that's crazy. I even doubted myself.
Yeah. I mean, I can come up with a bunch. Are they going to use somebody who has no experience in the industry?
Ooh.
I know now that they'll use you if you can get the job done right. I used to say, will they hire somebody who is young? I was 25 when I started in this business. And I thought most of my competition was probably, up in the 30s and 40s. And those are the kind of people they're going to want to work with. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to explain these documents. There's a million of them. How am I ever going to learn all of these documents and be able to rattle what they mean off the top of my head? I had that doubt.
Man, the first one was epic. And I think people get it all the time is, how in the world is someone going to hire me even if I have no experience at all? Again, people think I'm trying to sell a course when I say you will get hired with no experience if you have the right training. Talk through that doubt, right? Because that's so real. I've come from the hospitality industry. How in the heck is someone going to hire a former hospitality worker to do a $800,000 mortgage, right?
Yeah.
So talk through your beginning, the $2,000 you made in that first month. You got signing service business, I'm assuming. Was it literally as easy as putting your name into the databases that I told you in the course? And was it literally as simple as getting text messages, answering them, showing up, crushing it, getting repeat business? You tell me that journey.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's exactly how it was. And you said it, and it's true. Anybody can easily make $1,000 or $2,000, hardly even trying, because the notifications do come in. You put your name in the databases, text messages and emails and phone calls will just come every once in a while. And if you're okay with that and you just want to sit and get what comes in, anybody can do that. $1,000, $2,000 a month, easy peasy. You don't even have to try. It's when you want to take it to the next level that you really have to start putting in effort.
I love it. And so let's talk about another thing that you said about the doubt. And I think also people doubt it, going back to the no experience, is like, was I actually going to be able to explain these loan documents that I've never seen before, right? Talk about, being able to learn that, was it as terrifying as you thought it was in your head? Was it going to be as difficult to learn the paperwork as you thought it was going to be? Because those are, again, very real and relatable doubts.
Yeah, I realized that I was just overcomplicating it, reading the fine print, when really it's as simple as somebody's buying a home, refinancing a home, selling a home, and a few other things. And it makes sense. Every form is literally made so that a borrower who has no experience in the industry can look at it and understand what it is. We're just helping them understand it faster. This is why they need your employment history. This is why they want to know if you're occupying as a primary residence. It just makes sense. It's really simple. It's really easy, and anybody can do it.
Man, you really have a really talent for making things breaking down very easily. And I think you said something really cool, which was, the paperwork is designed for the borrower to understand. So if the borrower can understand it, so can I, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Right. And so I think you said it better than I've positioned it, which is they're designed for someone who has never bought a home before to understand what it says in order to buy the home. So if this homeowner has never bought a home before, the paperwork is so easy for them to understand that if they can understand it, so can we as signing agents. And obviously a good training program will walk you through it, whatever one that is. But you can learn this from scratch, and I appreciate you really breaking that down, man. Dude, epic conversation, super juiced on it, man. Thank you for inspiring everybody. Thank you for for being very vulnerable about the doubts you had, sitting on the course for 10 months, being terrified before going your first title company, and still being nervous going in title companies. But now you're a $15,000 a month signing agent, man. Congratulations. I'm proud of you, man. Keep building a business. Is there anything you would like to leave and inspire with people watching this right now?
No, I think we've pretty much said it all. Believe in yourself, take the course, run with it. It will work. It worked for me. I just think that this is the best business ever. Like we said, what other business can you make a couple $1,000 your first month and only up from there?
Yeah. And what other business can you take 3 weeks off and still hit $6,000 in the last week of the month?
Yeah. Yeah.
What an amazing business. All right, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.